Hello to my beautiful girlies and welcome to the Growth For Girlies podcast. You have just tapped into a space where mindset meets action, where we shed the old stories, activate our highest self, and step into the life we were always meant to live. But girlies, this is not just another mindset shifting podcast. This is a behavior shifting podcast. Here, we'll not only get into your limiting beliefs, but actually give you the tools and action steps you need to do to overcome and rewrite those beliefs. I'm your host, Alicia Tghlian, mindset coach, behavior consultant with a master's in behavior science. Using this knowledge, I'm going to get you to that exciting yet grounded place of expansion and growth. Each week, we dive into powerful topics that will leave you with that energetic download that you're going to need to get to your next step of alignment. So, take the deepest breath you've taken all day today and allow me to grant you with your weekly dose of growth and expansion. This is Growth for Girlies. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Growth for Girlies podcast. My name is Alicia Tghlian, and today we are going to talk about our belief systems and their root causes and where they come from. We're also going to talk about why we keep repeating the same patterns, and we're going to also talk about how to finally break free from old programming that's been instilled in us from such a young age. All right, so let's get into it. Let's start with the first one, which is where our beliefs are actually coming from. And for this, if you're listening to this podcast or if, you're a seasoned Growth for Girlies veteran, then you know that our belief systems come from our childhood, right? So it comes from our childhood experiences, first of all. So if anything ever happened to you, you ever had a dramatic or drastic experience that was not the best or was the best, these are things that actually influence us and our belief systems as we get older and who we become. It definitely shapes us, the things that we've gone through. And because of this, there is a lot of generational and societal conditioning that actually ends up, influencing our identity because everyone's childhood is different. So everyone goes through different things in their childhood. But, those things are also passed down generationally as well, right? So we go through the things from our parents, our environment, our social lives, and then all these things kind of add up and, add up into one. And then they actually become who you end up being and shape who you are as an adult. So a lot of this, like I mentioned, is the generational piece. We know that it comes from our childhood experiences, but it also comes from our parents and what they actually, instilled into us and what kind of beliefs they had as well. So if, for example, your parent had the belief that, money doesn't grow on trees, or if they, were raised in a very poor household that didn't have a lot of money, that struggled to get by, then a lot of that fear around money is something that may definitely likely get passed down to you. But that's not a bad thing. It's definitely something that you would work through and move towards and move on from as an adult if that's something you'd want to do. But it's just something to be aware of that, your beliefs are coming from what your parents had to go through as well. And also the societal conditioning that you're around in that condition as well. And finally, it's very important to talk about, logically, our awareness doesn't override our emotional programming. So even if you logically know that, anyone can get rich or anyone can make $100,000 a year if they try really hard or if they, do different things. They start a business, they go get a degree, they work up in their, corporate ladder. Even if you logically know that it is possible for everyone, you may not on a subconscious level believe that is possible for you. And our subconscious runs 90% of our lives, right? Probably 95% of our lives. So if you subconsciously believe that, money or love is not something that is an option for you, then even if you logically know that it can be an option, um, that's only 5%, So it's very important to identify where your beliefs are coming from and identify what exactly you believe about each of these things. And if you want to know how to actually identify your beliefs and get down to this, you can check out my free energy shifting guide below, and that will definitely help you with your journey and actually pinpoint what belief systems you have and help you work towards changing them. Next, it's important to know why you keep repeating the same patterns. So a lot of unhealed beliefs actually drive repeated behaviors, like I said, right? So if you don't believe that you can, be a millionaire, you might not even tour, expensive houses. You might not even walk in expensive neighborhoods. You might not even go where wealthy people go. Even if it's free, those are things that you may not end up doing just because your beliefs will drive the behaviors of someone, that does not make a lot of money, for example, right? So it's important to know that what you do is a result of your beliefs completely, 100%. And a lot of the time, we actually live in survival mode because of this, and our default identity actually falls back onto our belief systems, right? So we don't rise up to the person we can be. We fall back on the patterns that we exist in, and we fall back on the beliefs that we already have in our lives. Yeah, so this survival mode piece is huge because that is what we end up doing in our lives, and that is what we end up, succumbing to. But the good thing with all of this is that our subconscious actually you know, helps us protect us from who we may have been previously, or protects us from dangers in our lives, right? So if you're doing the same thing every single day based on your beliefs and you're just getting by, your subconscious is like, all right, that's good enough for me. She's getting by, she's alive, she's existing, she's gonna be doing well, she's fine. But, if you're doing things that are unfamiliar, like taking risks, maybe you're gonna put your money into starting a business, rather than doing something that's more safe, like an investment, that could trigger a lot of anxiety and a lot of fear in the belief systems that were given to you and instilled into you, just because those are unfamiliar and you know, there's a risk involved with them. Even if it's a positive risk, there is still a risk that may not be worth it to your subconscious mind, even though logically you think that, yes, this is my big break. Like, this is what I need to be doing in order to like break free from where I'm at. And of course, the final part of all this is, okay, we know that our subconscious mind drives everything and drives our reality. And we know that, we can be very scared to change if it involves a lot of change and a lot of risk. But the way we actually break free from all of this and break free from old programming is first being aware of all this, first being aware of where your beliefs are coming from, and then actually working on those and reprogramming them into being the better beliefs that you actually want to step into, right? So if you want to believe that life can be abundant, you can go on vacation whenever you want, you can spend money freely, not silly spending, but spend money freely. You don't have to worry about the bill. You can order what you want at a restaurant. Those kind of like freedom based behaviors. Then it's important to know that you know scarcity basically happens because it is rooted in safety. So the reason why you may feel so scarce, you may feel like there's never enough, that's actually making you feel more safe ultimately. Because if you overspend, you might not know when more money can come about. Or if you put too much vulnerability into a relationship, or you expose yourself too much in a relationship, there's a risk of, this person seeing a lot of you and then rejecting you. So even though these things, may seem logical to do, you want to tell someone more about yourself so you feel more connected and you can actually form a real relationship. You may not be actually doing those things because you can be too afraid to not step up. You'll be too afraid to be rejected. You'll be too afraid of whatever that comes from that belief. You may feel like you're not enough, right? So when you give someone your all, they can affirm that belief that you're not enough when you give someone your all, or you're very vulnerable with them and you give them your real self. So that's why it's important to know, what beliefs you have and really work on reprogramming them. And then the other thing with reprogramming beliefs, it's not, a one time fix all thing. You have to work through them repeatedly, because what was repeatedly instilled in you throughout your childhood was over and over and over, right? Your parents didn't just one time mention that money's hard to come by, or it's hard to make money. They may have not only one time mentioned that, maybe true love doesn't exist or people always get divorces. But these are things that were constantly repeated to you and constantly mentioned to you in your life. So that's why it's important to repeatedly respond to your new behaviors and your new belief system that you want to instill. So if you want to instill new affirmations or new beliefs, you have to constantly be exposed to them. And something that I really love to do to constantly be exposed to my own belief systems is doing overnight affirmations. And this is something that I talk about a lot in my podcast. So these are affirmations that you do while you're asleep. So when you're in a theta state, when you're asleep, your brain is very open and receptible and susceptible to new information. And when you do this, then you actually are able to instill new beliefs much more easily and rewrite your old neural pathways and your old patterns and to actually step into a new identity much more quicker. And if you want free overnight affirmations, you can find them on my YouTube in the link below. They're literally free and they will completely change your subconscious mind. Just play them on a very low volume and they're game changing. Something else that I would honestly recommend to break free from old programming is to plaster your environment in so many different affirmations that it's crazy. Like if you have, your bedroom, just put sticky notes up that resonate with a new version of you that you want to step into, right? Your phone background, change it to a quote of something that makes you feel like the best version of you, or make it a vision board and, make a quick little collage and make that your background. If you don't have a vision board, do that. If you don't have a mind movie, which is a video version of your actual beliefs and of actually what you want to step into and the person you want to become, then make a mind movie. Those are really, really great options. And if you want to make a mind movie, you can actually do that as well in the description below. I have a program for you guys, and it's really effective and really exciting, as well as the overnight affirmations. And yeah, so it's just constantly repeating the new version that you want to become. And your nervous system is going to naturally, at first possibly reject this, but that's okay because you don't really have to do anything when this is happening, and you may not really notice that this is happening. But over time, you're going to definitely rewrite these neural pathways and actually step into the version of you that you want to be and you deserve to be as well. All right, so that is this podcast episode for Growth for Girlies. My name is Alicia Tghlian, and if you want to see more podcasts, I would love, love, love if you were able to rate this below and leave a comment if you like. And if you want to check me out on socials, you could check me out on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok at Growth for Girlies. So I'll see you guys in the next one, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.